Hello everyone. So today what I'm going to do is reconstruct my water collecting system. We live on a well, so if I needed some plants to be watered, I'm not going to use the well water. I'm actually going to use rainwater. And here in New York, they actually promote saving rainwater, which I think that it does help. So last year, what I did was I had built a stand using cinder blocks and then step blocks, all out of cement. I was watching another YouTube channel that did that, and it looked pretty good, so I figured I'd give it a try. Unfortunately, what's happening is, if you can see, we live on a little bit of a, just the ground actually kind of slopes downward, and so over time, with the weight of the buckets, the barrels, it actually is tilting forward. You can see that there's a gap. It's tilting away from the house. So I have to make it in a way where it doesn't do that. And I'm just going to construct one out of treated wood this time now. The manifold at the bottom worked really well. So I used caulking as well as the glue to keep the pipes together. Unfortunately, over the winter time, I guess I didn't clear out the whole system, and so you'll notice that some of the pipes actually kind of pulled apart. Let me see. Let me try to find one. There's one of them over there, and then the other one that wraps around the fence is over here. So it's just a matter of putting them back together. I think I may have to put a faucet drain down there to kind of get the excess water out, or use some type of pressure to make sure there's no water coming out. Now, on the other side of the fence is the front yard, because we're in the backyard, and there's actually a faucet, so I can get access to the buckets, to the barrels that way. I do plan on adding a fourth one. I do have a fourth, the one that was originally there. I actually went all the way down to the fence. You can see it over there. So if I have plants that I have to put together, water, that bucket over there would actually keep the pressure going instead of it coming back from over here. So it's a little bit stronger. I do plan on adding another one over down there too. So there'll be 2 down here and 4 over here. So that one actually survived pretty good. I actually built that out of the stand alone. I built it out of the pressure-treated wood. So now the water intake, and this is actually the system that I had down there. Now, once I piece it together, you'll see how it works. But it actually drains from half of the house on. So this gutter system, I pull back here. The way that they designed the house was that there's not another downspout on that side. Everything actually flows down here. And then, where you see go into the ground, it actually pushes the water towards the street. All the PVC piping for that channel is actually below ground. So I do have a filter at that downspout, so no leaves will get in. And I plan on putting that leaf filter gutter guard. I do have it, and I'll show you that to you there on that end of the garage, that end of the house. I did put one here because I was hoping to clip down these trees, and I guess we'll see how it goes. Because over time what happens is those leaves will actually clog up that spout. So I always have to hire or have someone come in and get up that high just to get the leaves out. And you can actually see right there is where that's where I'll take that part, that section apart to actually install that system there. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start taking apart the system here and then putting it back together. Okay, so I was able to cut the PVC piping underneath, and so those are the barrels right there. This is the main barrel that it flows into. So it's actually leaning on a stump, so there's no pressure on that area. I know it's still holding itself because there were no leaks. pull back then. I'm gonna find out now once everything's together. So now it's a process of just removing these cinder blocks and then trying to flatten the ground underneath, put a lot of gravel and sand so there's no erosion. Okay. So I was able to take out everything from before, and I had to buy these deck footings. I'm going to try this one now. Hopefully there won't be too much erosion. I don't think there's going to be much rain. That will really move the dirt around. But then again, it depends on the weather. So underneath each block, at least the first row, there is sand and stone for drainage. And I really tampered it in so there won't be too much shifting around. As I mentioned, there's a slope that goes across. I'm going to kind of back off this way. And I am going to fill that area in right in front of it with a lot of dirt. Try to bring it up a little bit so it doesn't erode as much. And then maybe put some grass there to keep the soil from moving around too much. So my next step now is actually to flatten the last row, or the second row. Again with sand and gravel. Now, if you notice too, that the footings are actually, at least the front row, they're close to the same height. It wouldn't matter much, just because when I cut the 4x4s, it's going to, each leg will be different, okay? So, different height, that is. And the same thing will go for the back row. Should be a lot easier to keep all the same level, but the front run is going to be a little different, a little harder just because of the slope, okay? So I measured the legs that I'm going to place, and I am going to use 2x6s because it is going to support a lot of weight. I did notch the wood. That way now all the weight is actually on the wood, and rather than on a set of nails or carriage bolts. I've seen some, try to find it here. I've seen some people, what they would do, let me try to pull back, is that they would put it like this and then bolt it to the wood onto the leg, the 4x4. And now what happens is a lot of the weight is now transferred to the bolts. They're not really designed that way. You actually want to notch the wood so it's resting like that. The bolts are really going to be used for holding it together rather than supporting the weight. Okay, so 2 down, 4 to go. It's been about maybe 3 hours assembling and making sure the ground is leveled to some degree. I know there's always going to be a shift, especially with frost here, up here. So again, under each post is actually sand and gravel, provide better drainage. I actually have these rocks I place underneath them as well. I guess prevent weeds from growing up from underneath there, which I doubt will happen because it is in a shaded area of the yard. And then down here, I'm actually going to put lay down some sod. So all around, I'll lay some sod. So I just put the 2x6s on top just to kind of keep it leveled, not leveled, but more so keep the distance between the front will be the same as the back. So because right now the 4x4s are wobbling on the deck piers, the footings. So but everything seems to be coming along pretty well. It's late, so I guess what I'm going to do tomorrow is get some Simpson ties and then just lay them down like that, perpendicular to the boards here, and then put a wood over like decking wood on top of it as well, for the water barrels. Okay. The next step today is to actually get the Simpson ties, the brackets, to hold down the wood across the way. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm not sure if I'm just going to put a lid over, not a lid, but like a wood on top of it, because I do believe that the wood itself here is going to support it. But I'm still debating, but I'm still going to put the ties up. Okay. All right. Okay, so the upper part is already done. You can actually see where I have all the those ties that are in there. The next thing I'm going to do is actually place the carriage bolts in. So 2 in each one. And again, the carriage bolts are only to hold the wood together. It's not really made to support the weight that's going to go on. And again, that's why I notched everything. So now all the weights onto the post it's instead. I'm down to my last 2 carriage bolts. I actually have to put it in this way because it's, oh, you know what? No, yeah, the screw is way too long. So, and no one's gonna go back there anyway, so I'm gonna hammer it in. And I might as well just do the other one too. So these are 5/16 carriage bolts, and each post has 2 of them in it. So I'm hoping that I wouldn't have to keep on doing this on an annual basis. I don't think I did them right the first time. That was such a rush, and then the second time was just the same thing. So now I have a little bit more free time, and I'm not battling against the weather to get everything in. So, and after that, I am going to lay this board across the waist too. Not much weight's going to be on it because I don't think the barrel is going to be that far out anyway. But it's always good to have because I am going to place wood on top. I decided I was going to do that. That way it gives it more of a table look. Then the holes on the bottom of the barrel, I would have to drill. I mean, yeah, the pipes that are going down the bottom of the barrel, I have to drill holes down so I can make sure that everything is coming out the right way. Everything is bolted in now. I did get that last piece of board in. Like I said, a lot of the weight is not going to be more in this area. It's actually more over here. So when we had our fence built, which is this one about a couple years ago, we had extra pickets. So I think they're like 5/8. I'm not sure. But again, it's just more of a flooring for the top of here. I can use the deck boards, which are like 5/4. But you know, with the whole coronavirus thing going on, I'm trying to limit from going to the store too much. So this should suffice. Again, everything is 16 on center, except for over here. That's a little bit closer. So, and there you have it. So I'm going to just measure the boards. I have a bunch of those things. And they are also pressure treated as well. So shouldn't be an issue in the weather. So this is what it looks like. I just wanted to see how much coverage I can get. I'm definitely going to stagger them. Fortunately, because everything's on 16 on center, it actually ends right where it is. But obviously, I'm going to take out the dog ears, so it looks more like a tabletop than anything. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking each board out. So I have an idea of how I want to place the top. So I'm just going to take it, knowing where the wood underneath is, and then just drawing a line down. Get an idea, and then, well, you know what? Maybe I should take this one out completely. There you go. So then I can draw a straight line. So then the screw holes would be going right there, and then the other one that's going to meet on the other side would be the same way. Those marks right there. When drilling wood, drilling screws into the wood, I always like to pre-drill. That way the wood doesn't split. I've had so many times where it actually split on me, and it was a waste of time. So with this, and it's helpful too to have two drills, one to pre-drill and the other one to actually place the screw in. I've done it before with one drill. I've done so many projects that way, and it was just a nuisance. It was a waste of time. So to save time and my sanity, I actually ended up getting two drills. This is my first time using this one. This is Ryobi. I like the Walt. Been using it for a while now. I just can't find the other drill. So, and it's here someplace. And that's about it. So I'm going to do the same thing with all the other boards, and then just measure from there on. I am going to stagger it because I think it gives a little bit more strength when you do that. And hopefully it turns out pretty good. So there you have it. Everything is all together. It's pretty solid. I actually stood on it, tried shaking it. So yeah, it's pretty solid. So I'm really happy about this. So everything is screwed in. And next thing is going to be for the barrels. So for now, I think it's going to rain tonight. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm going to have to start dinner. But I'm actually really happy how it turned out. So, alrighty.